So I showed the dust trail that was coming off of the rover and how it formed a backwards C shape. And then I showed an example of dune buggies here on Earth that displayed the exact characteristics that we saw from the moon rover.
If you look at the way the dust is kicked up in the wake of the lunar rover's wheels, it forms a very distinctive rooster tail. It doesn't just fall in a parabolic arc like it would on Earth. The rooster tail is a product of the lunar environment, the low gravity environment and the lack of appreciable atmosphere. There's nothing to drag the dust particles down. They're able to fly further from the rover's wheels after being kicked up in the air, and they follow a spinning trajectory thanks to the wheel's movements. We just wouldn't see this on Earth.
So she's saying that the dust being kicked off from the rover is very unique and how long it stays in the air, blah blah blah, which is all bullshit because this is slowed down video. It is not normal speed. And when we do view it at normal speed, you'll notice that the dust doesn't stay in the air any longer than it does here on Earth. In fact, it falls right down back to Earth immediately, does not stay and float in the air at all. In fact, the moon's gravity is 1/6 of what it is here on Earth. So if this footage really came from the moon, then we would see the dust particles falling down at a rate of 1/6 the time that it would take here on Earth. But when we view the footage here, what do you see? The dust is getting thrown in the air and it comes right back down, exactly as it does here on Earth. So using this slowing down technique to impersonate the low gravity that we find on the moon is not just done here with a rover. They also do it with the astronauts. So let's take a look at some of the evidence here, so-called evidence, where we find that the astronauts are walking and jumping and falling upon the surface of the moon. And yes, we can see dust being kicked up as well. And the footage that we're viewing right now is the so-called normal speed, which really, if you do some research, you'll find out that it's actually half speed. So again, in slow-mo, we watch them fall, and then we watch it in normal speed. Again, here's their slow motion version, and then we have the real normal time version.
Astronauts moving in slow motion is another hallmark of the Apollo TV footage. There is no evidence at all of any astronaut making a leap or a jump anywhere near a height commensurate with 1/6 G possibilities.
So he's correct. If you were to jump on the moon, you could jump with the 1/6 of the gravity, which means you could jump really high and you would come down really slow. But as you see in the normal speed, he's just jumping up like he would here right on Earth. So let's take a look at these astronauts here in this footage. And actually there's some other footage too I'll show you, but you'll notice on top of their backpacks it looks like a little wire, like an antenna coming up. But the problem is that those wires also disappear throughout the scenes. So sometimes you see them and then all of a sudden it's disappeared and you can't see it at all. So it appears to be like a stunt wire that's being used to give them an effect of having low gravity. In fact, we can take a look at the astronaut suits too, and you don't see this wire coming out anywhere except for in the lunar footage. So in this scene we're looking at the Apollo 16 mission, and the astronauts, one of them has fallen down and the other astronaut is helping him up. But you'll notice like a miracle happens, that something or someone pulls the astronaut up, because he certainly doesn't do it himself and the other astronaut does not do it. He just magically rises up, like I was saying earlier, like from a magic wire, which is like a acting wire, which is a stunt wire.
So enter wire supports. This is a tried and tested way of relieving weight from performers, or even flying an actor. Of course, confirmation that wires were used is in the detail.
And here we see the Apollo research rig, wire rig, from NASA. Now, I was unable to find the footage I wanted to find. It was an actor I saw one time, but they fell over and they were being lifted up by the hips, exactly like that astronaut we saw in that footage. And of course, the special effects in Hollywood are experts at removing the wire in post-production. Then we have the case of the crosshairs. NASA placed crosshairs on there for reference. The problem is the crosshairs are supposed to be on top of the entire image. And as you clearly see in this photo, the crosshair is behind this object. Another post-production special effect mistake. And then we have the case of the shadows, which indicate a light source that is actually closer than what the far away sun would reveal in a shadow. They would be more aligned, not so drastically disaligned because of the nearer light source. And then we have the case of the lost blueprints for the moon rover. And of course the reported thousands of hours that were lost in video footage. Then of course we have the real footage of the simulations that prove that this is all really just a big hoax.
Just one more step and I'm tranquility. Holy living fuck. Are you fucking believing this? Over.
So you'll notice that they were practicing the first step on the moon, same camera angle and everything. They're going to try to film it, but of course the rig falls down and messes up the whole shot, which pisses everybody off, and they have to do it again.
Holy living fuck. Are you?
Now I want you to watch the same footage that we just saw, but on the official CBS airing of the moon landing.
CBS News presents Man on the Moon, the epic journey of Apollo 11. Here from CBS News Apollo headquarters at Kennedy Space Center, correspondent Walter Cronkite.
Boy.
Okay, we're going to be busy for a minute.
There's that foot going down.
There he is. There's a foot coming down the steps. Armstrong is on the moon. Neil Armstrong, 38-year-old American, standing on the surface of the moon on this July 20th, 1969.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Did you notice it was the same camera angle and everything as the so-called simulation footage?
Holy living fuck. Are you?
There's that foot going down.
There he is. There's a foot coming down the steps.
On the bottom rung of the ladder. Just one more step and I'm tranquility.
The Sea of Tranquility.
Holy living fuck. Are you fucking believing this? Over.
But they're not on the Sea of Tranquility. They're on a stage here on Earth. It's all bullshit. And now here's Neil Armstrong refusing to put his hand on the Bible, swearing that he actually landed on the moon.
Mr. Armstrong, Bart Sibrel, ABC Digital. Wanted to give you the opportunity to swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon. Will you put your left hand on the Bible and swear to God that you walked on the moon?
Gentlemen. Mr. Sibrel.
Yes? If you really walked on the moon, why would you not do that? So why don't you just put the end to the record in the argument and put your hand on the Bible, swear to God you walked on the moon.
Mr. Sibrel, knowing you, that's probably a fake Bible.
Really? Well, no, it's a real Bible. You have the opportunity to have $5,000.
The meeting is not open.
Well, you have $5,000 cash. You can give it to charity if you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon.
Please
I have
put
the
it to
tape.
charity. That'd be fine.
Why don't you swear to... Why not? Why won't you do it? So why don't you put your hand on the Bible and swear to God that you walked on the moon?
Mr. Sibrel has made a fool of himself in front of the world. Mr. Sibrel, you do not deserve answers.
Wow, Neil Armstrong would not put his hand on the Bible and swear that he actually walked on the moon. And the guy even offered him $5,000 to do so. And then, at the end, he tells the guy that he doesn't deserve answers. He wasn't asking for answers to the hoax. He was just merely asking, can he put his hand on the Bible and swear that he actually walked on the moon? And Neil Armstrong would not do it. Case closed.
Well, no, it's a real Bible. You have the opportunity to have $5,000.
The meeting is not open.
Well, you have $5,000 cash. You can give it to charity if you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon.
Please
I have the
give it to
tape.
charity. That'd be fine.
Why don't you swear to... Why not? Why won't you do it? So why don't you put your hand on the Bible and swear to God that you walked on the moon?
Mr. Seibel has made a fool of himself in front of the world. Mr. Seibel, you do not deserve answers. Mr. Seibel, you do not deserve answers. Mr. Seibel, you do not deserve answers.
Thank you for watching, everyone. Peace, love, and wisdom. Truth Heresy.